Next, we're going to be completing our interior pockets, and their first step is going to be to measure 2 3/4 inches away from the side edges and marking a line all the way from the top of this top stitch pocket all the way down to the bottom of the panel. And do the same thing on the other side, 2 3/4. And I like to line up the edge of my ruler with the edge of the pocket so that I know everything is perfectly perpendicular and at right angles. Okay, next we are going to stitch up these 2 lines that we just made, starting at the bottom of our panel and going all the way up to the edge of the pocket, turning around and coming back down, stitching on top of the first line of stitches that we made. And we're going to stitch through all 3 layers of this pocket with this cutout at the top. And we're going to go follow the line we just drew and go all the way up to the top of the pocket. Once we hit the top of the pocket, lift your foot and come back down the same line of stitches that we just did. This time there is no need to backstitch at the bottom because we are going to be chopping off the bottom of this anyway. So as long as you just stitch all the way to the bottom, that'll be good. Okay, we're repeating those last steps for this second line. Okay, here are the 3 sections for our card slots, and you can test the center one now, and we will be testing the other ones once we've closed up the edges. Next, on the wrong side of this piece, we are going to measure 3/8 of an inch away from this vertical edge and this vertical edge of the cutout. So let me do that really quick and show you. So each of these pink lines is 3/8 of an inch away from this edge here. And then I've also extended it down just a little bit farther than this long straight edge here. And this is going to be our seam guide for our zipper in the next couple of steps. So next, fold this in half, and you're going to match the 2 vertical edges of the cutout to find the center of the cutout. So we're folding in half, and then I'm going to clip a little notch. And now I have the center of my cutout right here. I'll set that aside for a second. And we are going to be working with our pocket liner now, right here. We're also going to find the center of the top of this piece as well. So fold that in half and clip. And remember that the width is 7 3/4 inches. So don't find the center of this and fold in half and clip here. Find the center of the 7 3/4 inch side. Next, we are going to grab our zipper, and I've cut this one to 5 1/2. I've also taken a lighter and just flamed the ends really quick so that it won't fray. And next on the zipper, I'm going to mark out the half mark. So this is 5 1/2 inches. So that makes half 2 3/4. So I have found the center of my zipper 2 3/4 away from both sides. And now I'm going to baste it to the liner. Now I like to do this next step before I put on the pull onto the zipper, because that way I can just stitch a straight line and I don't have to worry about moving my pull to get around my zipper foot. So I just do the next couple of steps without the pull on it and install the pull a little bit later. So we are going to line up the half mark of the pocket liner and with the half mark of the zipper, make sure that the zipper is right side up as well as the liner. So the wrong side of the zipper will be facing the right side of the liner, and we are going to clip those in place. And you'll notice that the zipper does not extend to the edge of the pocket liner, and that is intentional. And I'm going to switch over to my zipper foot, and we are going to baste this zipper onto the pocket liner at about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, here's our liner with our zipper basted on. And next we're going to take our pocket front piece and we're going to place it face down against the right side of the pocket liner. And we're going to line up the halfway mark, the center mark of the cutout with the center mark of the zipper. And the zipper edge is going to be aligned with the cutout. So I'll show you that in a second here. Just clip everything in place. So you can see here, if I pull off a clip, you can see the zipper is actually aligned with the edge of the cutout, not the top of the front pocket. So if you flip it over to this side, this is the wrong side of the front pocket, and we made these lines here. You're going to stitch at 3/8 of an inch away from the zipper edge, which is the cutout edge, and you're going to start with your needle down at one of the lines that you made, so all the way across at 3/8 of an inch away from the edge, and stop with your needle down at the other mark. Don't go past either of these marks. Backstitch before and after you stitch this. Okay. And you want to make sure that this is really 3/8 of an inch because that's going to affect how we stitch the next seam. We really want to make sure that we're getting our seam allowances correct. And I'm approaching this line, so I'm going to stop right on the line and then backstitch a couple stitches. Okay, so you can see here that my line of stitches doesn't go past either of these lines, and I went 3/8 of an inch away from this top edge. So we're going to open this up and we're going to just press or finger press, or you can take it to your iron if you'd like. I prefer to use my seam roller. Just open that up and then roll it, and then do the same for the liner. Okay, so you can see here we've got the zipper on one side and then the pocket and the liner on the other side. Now is the time to add your pull if you didn't already. And I like my pull to close off to the left, so I'm going to install it on the right side of my zipper. So I'm going to pull apart the teeth just a 1/2 inch or so. Insert one end of the zipper, one edge of the zipper, and then insert the other edge. Pull the zipper pull to the center. Next, what you want to do is go back to the back side of the front pocket, which is this side here, and we're going to trim into the seam allowance from this corner of the cutout right here, and trim all the way at a diagonal to the end of your stitches, making sure that you're only trimming through the front pocket piece. You're not trimming your zipper and you're not trimming the liner. You're just going from the corner of the cutout and trimming right up to the end of your stitches, where your stitches meet that line. And you can see here I did not trim the zipper or the liner, just the front pocket piece. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side from that corner to your stitches. Again, that's the only layer that we cut. So flipping this back to the right side, and we're going to lift the side of the pocket front up, and we're going to pull out that arm. So this is where we just cut, and we're going to pull that arm up and out from underneath the zipper, and it's going to align with the top of the zipper. So if you pull it super taut, it'll align with the top edge of the zipper, and this edge here will align with the end of the zipper. And you can pull it and tug on it until it really aligns. And then you're going to stitch down the mark that you made, and that will make it 3/8 of an inch away from the end of the zipper. So stitch all the way down until you hit the point where it's already stitched to the zipper. And do that on both sides. So again, I'm going to flip up this piece here. I'm going to kind of tug on it and make it taut, and then it'll align with the top of my zipper. So you can see those two edges are aligned, and up here is aligned as well. We are going to start stitching. We're going to go over the teeth a couple times to secure those in place, and then go all the way to the top. So we stitched right on that line that I had drawn, and we started right at that intersection. So let me pull this back. When you fold this back, you can see it's stitched here and it's stitched here. So there's an intersection right at this corner, and that's where we put our needle down and we started stitching all the way up to the top. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, if you unclip and you unfold everything, you can see that now I have 3 edges of my zipper are contained. And next we are going to top stitch down the side, across the bottom, and up the other side. Okay, and once I get a little bit past that corner, I pivot, and I'm going to go across the bottom now. I'm going to pull the zipper pull out of the way, and once I get far enough into the zipper, I lift my foot and pull the pull past the zipper, and then keep going. Okay, I got to the other edge, so I'm going to pivot and go back up. And back stitch. Okay, so you can see here it is fully top stitched from the bottom and both of the sides. And next what we're going to do is take the bottom of the pocket liner, and we're going to fold it up to meet the top of the zipper. And we're going to clip that in place all the way across. And then we're going to baste along the top of the zipper to secure the liner in place. Our pocket liner is now basted to the top of the zipper, and we're going to take our pocket back piece and lay it right sides together with our pocket front and just clip along that zipper edge. And now we're going to sew this edge at 3/8 of an inch to close up the other side of the zipper. Okay, if we pull the liner open, we can finger press, or you can take this over to the iron and press the seam allowance towards the top of the pocket back, and then press all of that open. And next we are going to top stitch this edge. So with all the seam allowance pointing up, we're going to top stitch through the zipper back and the seam allowance. Okay, now our zipper pocket back is top stitched. And what we're going to do next is basically fold the zipper in half like this so that the zipper teeth are pointing up. And then you can imagine that the ends of the zipper tape, or the sides of the zipper tape, are here and here. So basically it's sitting like this, like a U shape. If you look in here and pull this liner down, you can see that the liner is folded over at the top on both sides. So even though this side is not stitched to the front, but this side is stitched to the back, they're both folded over, and we're just going to line up the folds of the zipper pocket liner and kind of pinch that in place. And I'm going to place a clip right there and make sure that all the edges on the side are also aligned. Okay, do the same on the other side, keeping the zipper teeth facing up. We look inside here and we kind of, I kind of pinch right here a little bit to hold the zipper in place and pull down on the zipper liner, the fold of the zipper liner. And that kind of pulls everything straight so that I can pinch the top of the liner folds together. And now I'm just gonna make everything line up, everything on the edge is lined up, and I'm gonna put a clip right there. So make sure everything's lined up. Facing up, and then we're gonna tack this down by just putting about an inch of a stitch line right at the top of this pocket, and that's going to connect all the layers together. And we'll do that on both sides. Okay, we have now tacked down the sides so they are not going to shift on us for the next couple of steps. And the next thing that we're going to do is pull the back up, the pocket back, and we are going to measure 1.5 inches away from the top edge, which is this edge here. And we're just going to make a little mark with our chalk pen and do the same thing on this side, 1.5 inches away from this top edge. So as you can see, there's a mark here and a mark here, and they're both 1.5 inches away from this top edge. And now we're going to take the zipper edge of our interior pockets and we're going to bring it up to line up with the 1.5 inch mark that we just made and clip that in place on both sides. So as you can see, the top of our pocket right here on both sides is lined up with that mark, those marks that we made, and the edges right here are also aligned. And now we are going to baste from the bottom of the pocket all the way up to the top of the pocket, securing all layers together. So now everything is basted along the sides, and check to make sure nothing shifted, because it definitely has the potential to. If you're sewing up one side and down the other, it could cause this front pocket to kind of shift a little bit. So just make sure that everything is still lined up, and there's 1.5 inches from the top of this edge down to the top of your pocket. Next, what we're going to do is grab our side strips, our pocket side strips. We've got 2 of these, and we are going to put them face down up against the sides of our pockets and line it up with the top edge of the pocket back piece. And now these pieces are not going to extend all the way to the bottom of the pocket front, and that is okay. So we are going to clip those in place. On both sides, making sure both of them are aligned with the top of your pocket. And then we are going to stitch down the sides here at 1/2 inch seam allowance. And we do have some elevation changes here where we go from thin material to bulky layers. So if you need to use a hump jumper, this would be a good place to use that. We're going to go just to the end of the side strips and back stitch. Repeat on the other side. Okay, we have these stitched on now, so we are going to open them up, and you can press with your iron or finger press. I'm going to grab my seam roller and just flatten those seams out. And next, what you're going to do is fold that back on itself and lift up the seam allowance of the side strip that we just sewed, and everything else gets trimmed down. But keep the seam allowance of the side strip long. Okay, so all of that bulk just got cut out of the seam allowance, but the seam allowance of the side strip remained long. So we're going to do that on the other side as well. Lift the side seam, or the side strip seam allowance, and trim everything else down to about 1/4, between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch about. And next we're going to fold that back on itself so that everything is open, and we're going to top stitch down the side seams. All right, and now we have interior pockets. We have a slip pocket back here, zipper pocket for coins. Okay, and now is the time to grab your cards and test your card slots. Next, what we're going to do is trim off the bottom of our pocket. I like to go to my cutting mat and chop off the bottom at 6 inches, just like we did for the main exterior when we were cutting that to 11 inches. We're going to do the same technique and cut this off at 6 inches tall.